Warning. After Hours at Arch's Garage is not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
What's up, everyone? So, welcome to Arch's Garage, the After Hours report. What the hell are you talking about, Arch? What does that mean? Huh? Listen, fellas. So, it's after hours because, well, it's after hours. It's probably a little dark and the lighting is weird in here because it's after hours. It's Arch's after hours. It's late. And this is mine. This one we put together a year ago, 2 years ago. I don't remember, something like that. Maybe I'll put a link to that. It was built from, I built up a whole bunch of different pressure washers. I got some new stuff. You know, let me get the hose in a little bit. Let me go get that. Hold on. Good stuff. I'm coming. Arch, why didn't you prepare yourself and get ready for all this stuff and lay it all out before you wasted our time? Listen, fellas, shut up. Okay, I'm trying my best here. I'm just some schlump and a guy in a garage doing this stuff. This is nice. We'll get a closer look at it. I picked this up. Let's see what it says. Yamatic. That must be New York. Yamatic. High pressure washer hose, 3/8 inch. This is rated to, this one's only 4,000 psi, but it's hot water rated. What the hell are you gonna do with a hot water rated? Well, fellas, at the time, I showed you a little bit about it. Maybe if I have some shots, I'll throw it in here. But I got a serious machine outside that's just been sitting forever. That's another story. So I went through a whole bunch of these machines. Here's the rigid handle. All right, some of you guys have seen my nice rigid setup. I've got the one nice Subaru engine, which I need to fix the pull handle on. I put the cat pump back on, and I went through the cat pump. We got a little bit of maintenance to do here, so it's more like an inspirational. So we're just going to go through some of the maintenance. This was a Honda-powered 5 horsepower Excel I got on a trade a bunch of years ago, and I sold that one with a different pump, and I put it on a different base, and I sold it. And I cleaned it up, fixed it up, and then I collect a lot of this stuff. So let me tell you, the Excel body I did outside a bunch of years ago. I showed a little bit on my channel. A lot of that stuff people don't care about. Some of you guys watch it because it's not searchable and nobody really cares, but I care. I like these bodies, right? It's got a very wide base here, and this handle comes out of the way, and it's a nice steel body. So we cleaned it up, got rid of the rust, put a little bit of decent gray paint on it, put some grommets in up here so I can keep my most common, my most favorite ends, a turbo nozzle. It kind of has a place to put this, which you can just lay it there. But you got a spot for your hose. It's a nice bracket. Or when I'm using it, I'll often just do this. So I was like, oh, that's nice. I can just put my handle down there. So I like these bases because I like to put different motors on different things. And I like the fact that there's plenty of room for these nicer pumps. Now, this is an AR pump. I was actually chatting with Brett the other night, and we were joking. I'm like, I can never say annovi reverberi or something like that. This one, I think, is, let me get my glasses. Arch, why the hell didn't you get all this? Write it down. Shut up, Alice. Give me a minute here. Hold on. Because Arch is a hat rack. All right. You know what a hat rack is? I'm a hat rack, see? I think it's a 3.5. It's 3 U.S. gallons per minute. Remember, it's Italian. Yeah, it's a 2,500 psi, so 3 gallons per minute. I fell in love with this pump. I like AR pumps. I have some Generals. I have another AR pump. I've got the cat that I rescued. So I like collecting this stuff. And I like this pump because it's got this nice adjustable regulator. And it does have a nice soap thing on it. It's got a little adjustable soap valve. We'll get close. Let me move this out of the way. I'll get you in close. With this kind of a frame, I can orient the pump and the engine where I want it. So in the Honda, it was too close to here. It was too close to this back end. And I needed to take the motor apart to get it going again properly. And one of the things I like to do is go over the ignition. If you need to service the pull start or whatever. on the Hunt, it was so close, I couldn't, you had to take the motor off. What the hell is that? And some of these newer frames, whatever, to get to anything, you got to take the motor off. Not that that's ridiculously hard to do, but why? So I was like, this is a keeper, right? This is a body that if I wanted to, if let's say another machine comes in, there's so much room here, and this is a pretty decent size AR pump, so this is about as big as I would put on this engine. You know, in my little world, if I get another pump and I'm like, hey, let's see if it works. Pop this off, put another one on. It's not, the hose and all of the fittings are not going to be in the way of the frame. By the way, this frame comes off. You got these nice little push buttons here. I've lubricated the tubes so they're not like rust welded on. I can test another pump, part of what I do. It's kind of stuff I like to do. If I want to sell something, move it forward. I actually have another pump, but this motor on another frame that I need to go through, and that's coming up. So that gives me advantages. I like the configuration. I put this motor on. I laid it out and re-drilled for where I wanted it. This motor came off of a Craftsman body. I think in that video I showed how quirky and weird that body was. That body was so weird that only the pump that was on this motor would fit on that frame, and that's the issue I have. And so anything else, go figure, you're out of luck. Well, what if a pump dies and the customer says, pump dead, you got anything else? Yeah, but I can't put it on your frame because nothing fits. I tried. No, I hate that crap. But some of these things are very serviceable, fellas, as many of you may know. These are not like the vertical ones that I have outside that my sister gave, drop one off. I can't fix it. You spend all this time on it. Vertical engine, vertical style pump layout, disaster. Useless. They used to be inexpensive. Now they're much more expensive. They're still not worth fixing. These are. So I kind of customized this a little bit. I went over this motor. The most common issue with these motors, as you've seen in a number of my videos, is the muffler comes up high, and depending upon the configuration, water gets in and screws up the valve, screws up the engine, causes problems. A lot of times you can fix it, a lot of times you can't fix it. Screws them up. Depends upon the exact configuration, what kind of end is on the muffler. Just a disaster. Other than that, I like these motors. It runs well. I put a HIPAA carburetor on this, and HIPAA actually had a bit of an issue with this one, and that's up on my channel as well. So I just wanted to remind everybody, you know, I try to be honest about these things. I do like HIPAA stuff, but this one had an issue, and it had an issue with the choke flapping in the Briggs. And at some point it started to come apart, and then what would happen is it would flap around and the motor would suck the choke valve in and blow black smoke and die. So we fixed that. Runs really good. I do like these HIPAA carburetors. They know about it. They fixed the problem. I fixed it here. I showed my quick fix. It's been running really good. There were a few other little things I had to adjust. This is your throttle control. You don't really need one on something like this, but we had to make some adjustments to it because it wasn't just so that it was coming up to the proper speed. It was kind of over speeding and doing some weird stuff. So there's advantages to being able to have different pressure outputs, different volume outputs. Up, coffee truck, gotta go, time to go! So there's advantages to all of that. So this gives me a lot of that. The cat pump that I have has got way too much pressure. That's on the Subaru. That's on the rigid frame Subaru, packaged under rigid. It's actually too much for what I do. And I might want to, in the future, put a separate balance valve in and plumb it in with a return and put it up on the handle somewhere. That way I have ultimate pressure when I want it, and then reduced pressure on that nice rig. So these are the kind of things that I wanted to mention and talk to you guys about before we get started. This little red knob here is really nice because I can adjust, if I want to put soap in, I can adjust how much soap she pulls in. And it's a nice little knob.
You guys like knobs? I like knobs.
Nice to have turny things. Somebody tried to take this bolt off over here, and it does leak a little bit from that fitting. And at some point, we're going to want to get in there. That might cause us some problems. So what we're going to do today, there's your tour. There's your $5, $10, 10-cent tour. All right, so this is just goes on your hose real quick. Drop that on. and makes life a little bit easier. All my hoses, so quick disconnect on this, all my hoses have some kind of a shutoff valve. I think it's really important on these small, actually there's another thing I was just talking about. Brett does a lot of stuff with pressure washers, and somebody was complaining to him, you put a restrictive hose valve on, and that's going to kill the pump. No, not for these little guys. You want the convenience of being able to shut the hose off. Screw the thing on the end of it. Make sure there's no water in the... what I like to do is I turn the hose on, I put my hand over the threads, I blast water all over the end. If there's any dirt whatsoever, it's gone. Now, some of these, sometimes you can put, let me get one for you. This is the one with the screen in it. Now, I don't have a screen on here. My screen is actually on at the end of the hose where it connects to the valve. The simple valves, right? I have one here? Probably not. I gotta get a new one for this year. I gotta get a couple of new ones. But it's like this, except it's not a Y or a T. But ball valves are the best. And you get yourself a ball valve. And that way you can shut it off. Now on mine, my ball valve where it connects to the hose, see, this one's broken. Brass, preferably. It has a screen. I probably should put yet another screen, because your biggest enemy is going to be any piece of sand or dirt getting in on the input side and racing around inside the valve body and screwing your life over, because it'll score the inside of the pump, it'll ruin it. So just as a public service announcement to you fellas, to remind you guys, when I grab the hose, before I turn it on, I put my hand over it and I let it spray all over, and I try to wash the end of the fitting. Then I screw this on. I make sure this is clean. I rinse this out. I make sure this is all clean and lubricated to some degree. There's different greases you can put. Silicone is a good bet. Spray silicone in a can. Then I pop this on. I turn it on for a minute, flush out whatever's in here. Then I connect the hose to here, and I flush out whatever's in the hose. And as that's happening, right, I rinse this out, because they get drug along the ground. I rinse this out, same thing here. Then after all of the air, and I know there's no dirt anywhere in the system, I plug it into here, I open it up, I flush this out, putting my hand over the end of it, flush that out. Occasionally I put a little oil on it or silicone. And I know there's no dirt anywhere, because by the way, if you have a tiny little piece of dirt, where we are, it's sand, so that sand can become real micro. It will plug the tiny little hole in there. And if you plug, let me get the other one, it's the white. Let me get the green one too, hold on. The green one's useful. The red is too sharp. If you get a little tiny piece in there, right, it'll block that hole and nothing will come out. And you might be thinking, well, Arch, what's the big deal? Well, I'll tell you what the big deal is. On these systems, on the cheap ones with the plastic hose, it's a little different. Let me show you here. Now, they've changed this over the years, but there are discussions as to what's better. On these more professional systems, watch. Let me do it this way. See how the collar locked on? That's the better system, arguably. But here's the downside. Pressure helps it to seal. It puts pressure, the pressure from here forces the seal. If you get a piece of something in there and it locks up, you hydrolock. You can't get it apart. And there's really, these fittings will become like rock. Shut the machine off, try to disconnect the hose. It's going to spray all over the place. There's pressure backing up. It could still lock in here even if you've disconnected this. It's locked in here. And then your only alternative, now on this one it's not so bad, but is to try to hold this and turn this off. And I've seen it where they just pop off and strip and go flying. You're talking about 3,000 psi. And so you screw this up big time, it could hurt you. It's going to be locked, fellas. Or in some cases, you can't even get that off. You have to try to turn off the fitting, all under pressure. I've had systems come in and like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. By the way, I'm going to spray a little silicone on this. Another little neat little thing you can do, see, this is the area where a lot of times I'll put a little light grease too on it. Yeah. So a little maintenance. Use your finger, but you could take a tool and like little things like this, right? We're doing a little bit of maintenance today because I want to use it. It's the beginning of the season. I do use it over the winter. So this was done, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago. So it seasons up. Tomorrow I want to go out and pressure wash. I got a lot of stuff. Look at all the crap it pulled out, right? You see in there? You might be able to. But yeah, just kind of polish it up a little bit. Make sure there's no dirt in its way. Yeah, that's polishing up nice, fellas. Give it a quick blow. Don't get any junk in here. And blow back this way. Now, like I said, I'll often grab a little white lithium, a little lube, my tranny flavored sauce, but this is probably the best stuff to use, just silicone. Get cheap, good old fashioned, not tire shine. A little silicone on that. A little bit up and around here. Make sure that's clean. Sometimes you might have to replace that O-ring there. So inspect it. You can also run a little bit of Scotch-Brite in on that fitting. When I go out tomorrow, let me shut that off. See, these systems are nice because it's a nice long piece. All right, there's a valve in here. And then sometimes around here where you can kind of get to the valve. On my buddy Steve's, I actually had to take this apart and I glued it with epoxy because some of these things, he was leaning on the side of it. His hand's a little smaller. Let me let it roll through. I'll clean this one up and wipe this off. But he was grabbing it and it was pulling it and cocking it to the side, sort of popped out and then actually broke some of the plastic that's in there. And the valve wasn't working right. Oh, that feels better. Just a little bit of love, fellas. We'll go over it, put a little love on it. We'll get to the motor in a minute, but while I'm here, just to inspire you guys, take care of your tools. Blow that. Oh, I feel a little. Yeah, see? Now, she's been out in the wet. Look. You probably can't see it because it's a little too bright this close to the camera. So let me blow it. Oh, yeah. These are all the wear points. A little bit of maintenance. And a little bit of love. Yeah, the gasket in here is good. A little bit into the pump. We'll get that guy all in and around. And we'll blow it out. And then this is leaking, but because, like I said, this nut over here got bashed up. Somebody tried to get in there. And as I said, we'll get to that in a minute, but somebody did try to get in that. And they were unsuccessful. We need to rebuild this valve body in the future. It's got a problem. That's the other thing I wanted to show you. So we have to keep track of that. Now, a very common problem with these is this gets stuck. Sometimes I can just, nope, it's still on there. It's on there good. There's a spring regulator in here. Do I have a stick? Do I have a little tube? Let's see if I have a tube for it. Hold on. I don't want to disturb the cap because it's on there. But I'm going to take some chain wax. It may not be going in. We may want to pull that off. Just to take a peek. Yeah, it's a cap. Yeah, we can't get it up.
That's what she said.
We'll try to get some up underneath. These get stuck. And at some point, you'll have to take it all apart. And when you get to that point, you may not be successful in fixing it. So anything you could do to keep it moving. Again, there's a spring that sticks up on there. It's attached to a valve. You're putting tension on the spring by raising or lowering. So you're adding tension or removing it. That's changing the pressure in the plunger and the bypass circuit, briefly. You want to be mindful of that. So you want to keep this going, because otherwise, if that unloader gets stuck or starts to get sticky, you'll have to take it apart. And you might have to replace it. That's a problem. I've already been through all of this. Let's turn around the other way in a minute. So just some good maintenance. And you can use chain wax in these places as well. There's nothing wrong with it. I just used a little bit of silicone. But the chain wax is going to wax up. It's a rust preventative because it creates a barrier. So you could use that too. Many of you guys know I love my chain wax. I use it constantly and on everything. Now in a minute I'm going to do my hose end. We'll do that off camera, but let's not forget this guy, because these are under a lot of stresses. Now, getting back to a while back when I put all this together, of course I went through the whole engine and I went through the valves, but I had that valve leak. And it's like I said, sometimes these valve covers replace the gasket. I actually had a hard time finding this gasket. I just want the gasket. Now you can make one. What I did the other night was I took it off, I cleaned it up, and I made a gasket out of RTV. Relatively thick, spread it out. Clean off the surface and everything, spread it out, and I let it sit overnight. And about an hour and a half later, after I put it on there, I bolted it onto here lightly. Just to make sure, because when you spread it with your finger, it's going to be a little uneven and everything. You want the skin, so you need at least a half an hour for it to skin. I went about an hour and change, and then it fully skinned, but it's not fully cured and dried. It hasn't shrunk. And then you kind of flatten it out. And the other thing I noticed is that there was a lot of grease on the threads. Cleaned out the threads with some brake cleaner on the block and on the screws, and then I put a little bit of blue lock on. Just a little while ago, and I tightened it. So it's like a whole day later or something. We're going to find out if it's going to leak. It shouldn't. Now this is a different box on here, air box. A lot of times they get these kinds of engines and machines. If it's a Snow King motor, it's going to be different. Somebody, I think, stole the whole box arrangement, or the cover fell off or whatever. So I made one from a lawnmower. You got to have some kind of an air filter on here. And there's no indication for when your choke is on or off, so I put one on. I put last year I put a nice new filter in. I've been very careful with keeping the fuel clean. So let's go drain the oil and take a look at the oil. Now it's only been, could be a full season, maybe a little bit more. I lose track. Fellas, you might lose track. Let's pull the oil out. Let's turn it this way. I lost track. Here we are at the beginning of the season. Let's take care of our stuff. I'll set up for the oil, and I'll get you in close on here because you're going to see we're going to pull this oil out in this pump. I had replaced it. I know it's leaking. I think it's about $100 or so to rebuild this pump. Probably some kind of a valve, or it could be a cap. And somebody borked it. But it's not just a cap, because it holds on this whole back assembly over here, this whole head assembly. It's one of the ones that hold it on. Well, if I take that off and I can't get it off and I ruin it, I have a bigger problem. I could have really screwed up the pump. And every pump has got a little slightly different design, and that, if I can get it or if I can't get it, I'm screwed. I did pop all these caps off on this valving system over here. I went in there and I checked them and I cleaned, make sure they were clean. So that's probably why the pump is still running. But it's leaking from, there's a series of pump seals, piston seals. They separate. This is the pump. This is the motor, essentially, back here. This is your sort of like your motor end of the pump. That's where the pistons are and the whole crankshaft, so to speak, assembly. On those pistons as they come out, there are seals. And then there are more seals in here, which is the pump end. But those seals, they separate the water from the dry/oil side. That's how there's water is getting into this pump, into the oil, because those seals have gone bad. So at that point, you might as well pull everything apart and replace everything. And like I said, the last I looked, that was at least a little over $100. Probably more than that now. I don't have it. So we're going to drain the oil. We're going to replace the oil. You got to keep fresh oil in if that starts happening until you can have it serviced. Let's get started. See, and of course I put this on. Now, I wish I had a little brass fitting because it would have fit a little bit better. So I had to kind of kick it up a little. But, let it drain out. I didn't run it. It's not hot or anything, so we'll leave it. It'll take its time. I'll go do something else. And then we'll get to this. You see there, over there? Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. All right, so, I don't know, what is this? What did I put in here? I don't know. I can't fucking read it. Hold on. Let me get my glasses. Oh, can't you be ready? I'm not ready. I'm fooling around here. What do I put in there? This is like usually about 16 to 18 ounces. Maybe 20 ounces is what it takes. I don't know. Who cares? The thing is, I should probably write it down, right? Because then I'll know. I mean, I have it written down somewhere, but no, I don't care. One reason why I don't care is because this is right here. It's at the bottom of the engine. I tipped it up a little bit so it comes out all the way. There's no mess. There's no fuss. That oil's kind of beat. Let me see. It's not terrible, but a lot of these things, these motors and stuff, you turn them over, not all the oil comes out. It's not bad. You guys see it? I mean, you can see your finger. So this might be the first oil change. I don't remember. We're going to use the Pennzoil and the Rotella. Now, I got a little bit of this left. This is 1030 regular mineral. This is a mix. And this is for like diesel engines. So it's got all the goodies that you want, but it's a little thick. It's a 1540 synthetic blend. And it's got all the nice goodies and stuff you're going to want. But it's a little thick. Remember now, I use this in cold weather too, and I'll probably forget. It'll be out there on a fall day or in the winter or something. So I don't want to have just the heavier weight. We'll pop this in, and it'll be very happy because I did that. But there's no dipstick. This one does have the fill through the top, so we can do that. And you just gotta look at the threads. I'll show you. You gotta be a thread or two below the bottom. Watch. How the hell? Why there's no dipstick? Because there's no dipstick.
The way I see it, all synthetic oils are the same.
Oh, think with your dipstick, Jimmy.
And it's just a couple of threads back. Well, how does that act? That's why I say, you know what? That's how we used to do it. I mean, these people, you got to turn it one turn, half a turn, don't turn it. Oh, you know what you're doing. The book says. When we were doing this years ago, you're like a couple of threads below. What does that mean? Like, is it a little bit too much? It's on an angle? Let me go put the oil in. We'll be back in a minute. See, look, I still have some left. And I can see it, but it's nowhere near the threads. You're not going to be able to tell. You're going to say, "Look, I see some there." No, it's not there. You'll see. You'll see in a minute. Hold on. Let me pull the rest in. And you're going to need the cap on because it'll probably spill out. See how it's coming up? Yup. And you can see kind of like the bottom threads. It's starting to come up. It's a few threads below the top. And I just poured some more of that in. We could get the rest of it in there and we'll call it. There it is. Yeah, it's like a thread or two below the very top. Almost too much, but we're okay. And that was just that last little bit that was in there. So I didn't put much oil in. Sorry, fellas. I just threw up on my plate. Let's see. Are you going to make a mess? I think it's going to make a mess, fellas. It's going to make a mess. Get this white creamy milk out. Yeah, and she's making a little bit of a mess. It's not terrible. Oh, that's creamy. Oh, it's creamy. You can't even see it because everything is so... Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, that's a lot. Oh, it's like looks like white latex paint. Yeah, let me get something to kind of hold this up. Arch, why didn't you think about that before you started doing this? Listen, fellas, yeah, that's too high. There's the other thing I just had. There we go. This will help. Because I'm fooling around in here, it's late, I'm tired. All right, let's let the cream come out of it. You guys like latex paint? Now I'm gonna move the camera I'm gonna make fun of you guys. Like so many of you guys move the camera. Hold on, I'm moving the camera. Oh, let me get the camera right. Oh, let me set the camera. There we go, camera set. Making fun of you guys. When you go to move the fucking camera, can you not move the camera like you're like having an epileptic fit? No offense. It might be saying, Wash, why don't you fix that? Because like I said, it's like it's over $100. I don't know what it is. And then I risk damaging the pump and not having it at all because it looks like it might already be damaged. And I'll lay it up. So what's the alternative? Well, you're going to have to nurse it. But now it's going to have to be done constantly until I can afford to replace it and get in there and disable it. Now, the other pump that I have has got the cat pump. It's not adjustable. I can't use it for everything, right? That's on the rigid, like I said. Oh, that's a problem. Okay, I got to be careful. Although I did find out that the rigid has a really nice carburetor on. That's the Subaru on that engine. And it has a throttle controller on it. And that engine is very powerful. It's more powerful than this one. And when I noticed that even with the 3,000, I think it's at least 3,000 psi, that cat pump, it might be more. That cat pump is insane. It is insane, especially with the turbo nozzle. You can lower the RPM quite a bit on that Subaru, which lowers the pressure a lot, but it's still a lot of pressure. And it will handle it. This one is a little more sensitive. You want to lower the engine RPM to lower the pressure. It don't really like that. You can go a little bit lower, yes, but I do have the adjustable valve on it. And I've experimented. I still do sometimes. That's why I was talking about putting another mark on it. Maybe I buy another year or so. Could it ruin the pump? Yeah, it's a catch-22. All right, let it drip. All right, I'll get you in close in a minute so you can see the creaminess. Let me get a rag. Now, this stupid little, just to give you an idea, fellas, when I first put this on, this whole system together, I wanted to drain the pump. And this stupid fitting, I had to put my air impact on this damn thing. It would not come out. All it is got a little O-ring seal on the bottom. It would not come out. Now, of course, I got it out now because I've already had it out. That's why I say, and that's why I'm making a fuss of it over, this thing's already been borked, okay? Where is it? Wherever it is. Over there. It's in front. And it's already been borked. I might destroy it. I don't know. Now, I'm going to put the thicker weight oil in. I went over this on, I think it was when I did this setup or one of the other setups, and I showed, guys know how I like to show the cut sheets on the B-roll. To the B-roll! Right? What the hell's the B-roll, Arch? That's like when you use an alternate, like this is the main roll right here, and then when I show the other camera or whatever, other scenes, I lay it on top. Like here or something. I don't know what I'm going to put here. But when I show that, I was showing the manufacturer specifications for the different oils. Some of the manufacturers call out something very specific. And of course, guys that do this all the time, pro, which I am not, I'm like semi-pro. I'm like GoPro. I'm like no pro. So, the hydraulic oils, and especially for like these kinds of pumps where water can get in, and there are additives that they put in some of these oils. So, I'm using a decent sized wrench, but I'm not like bearing down on it. So that's the wrench I grabbed. I happen to like those wrenches. They're like, I think they were like the cheeseoid wrenches I got. Probably like the knockoff wrenches, the ones that were made in Japan. Remember when the Japan stuff used to be crap? No, you can't use one of these either. It won't fit. You can't get it in there. Besides, that's what ruins these. That's what those stupid wrenches. I mean, they're nice. They're good to use from time to time, but they're the ones that cause problems. That's what they often beat up the ends of these brass, the brass heads and stuff. All right. The hell was I saying? I don't remember. So there's different additive packages, and some of them call out. I think I saw one. What did it say? 2050, 2040. I don't remember. You guys probably know. We're going to put whatever I have in here right now because I'm going to be dumping it. And some of you will probably say, "Oh, that's probably why it's leaking. Put the wrong half of the oil in there." I don't know. Maybe that's true. And how do I know? Right? At this point, we're supposed to stock everything. Now, when I go to rebuild this thing, I'm going to look up what Annovi says for this style pump. And I'll probably, I'll put a real pump oil in it when I rebuild it. If it can be rebuilt. If I don't screw myself, if I don't get screwed because of all of that, because somebody was at it. And that's a lot of the stuff that I get. I get them used and free and thrown out from the dump or low price. And people get at stuff. And as just a regular mechanic, that's what you're going to be dealing with. If you bought your crap new, by all means, take good care of it. Let me put some oil in it. I'll be back in a minute. Hold on. I gotta move. I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. That's what you guys do. I'm a little bit too high. It should be right at the line. Right? Yeah, you're a little too high, Arch. No, I'm not high, fellas. I'm not fucking high. I just want to pull a little bit out. Because we want to know if it... Yeah, it's almost there. If it starts loading up with water, or it broke seal, we want to know. Because if it goes above that mark too high, she loading with water, that's perfect. She's like right as these little in the window. You know what they say? I don't see you through the week. I'll see you through the window. That's creepy, Art. Yeah, all right. So I got this little sucker. I'm a real sucker. All right, we're almost done. Let's go take a look at. Let me get this out of the. Ooh. Oh. Yeah. Oh, stop! Stop it! I'm not stopping it. Hold on. Let me put this crap away. I'm just gonna pull the plug. Let's take a look and see what the plug looks like. Oh, fellas, that plug looks damn good. I have my little bit of no C's on it. Oh, she looks pretty damn good to me. She was burning. It's a nice chocolatey burn. Yeah, there's no real soot or anything on it. I say just shove it back in.
That's what she said.
It's not terrible. Maybe I'll clean it. Yeah, we'll just clean it while we're here. What is it? Savior BK5E. I don't know who that is. That's not a HIPAA. HIPAA has the different number on it. What's the Savior BK5E? Oh, it looks like it's running good. Can't wait. A little light on. I don't know if that helps. Yeah, what the hell is effing Savior? Look, it says Savior on it. Can you guys see that? I don't know, I can't tell because I can't see that on the back of the camera. All right, let me fix that. Oh, that looks better. I think. The gap was like heavy 30, so I cleaned it up and I brought it down to like 28-ish. And I put a little no C's on it. All right, Mr. Savior. So far, you've been working good. By the way, I just want to show you this one. Look at that one. That was one of those like the cheesy MTD push mowers that somebody left outside with the little tiny Briggs OHV, and water got in it, and yeah, that's it. It's seized up. Yeah, that was a good idea. Leave it out like that. Yeah, that's right. And when they were $175, $80 wasn't so bad. Now they're $350 for that piece of junk that somebody just ruined. And here's our fluids, fellas. We'll check on our bodily fluids. Look, see. Oh, stop shaking the camera. Why? You guys do that. That's not terrible. I mean, look. You can still see your finger. No, that's that one. We'll do the finger test. Well, you can't see anything. Yeah, that's crap. All right, plugs in. We'll do one more thing. Although this one had some oil leaking on it. These are kind of neat. I squirted oil on my table. Those got like lock collars I put on. These are not the wheel. These wheels came from that Craftsman. And can I get it on there? Yeah, we'll just let it drip a little bit. That Craftsman that I butchered up. Let's spit them. These are what was on here originally had like flat tires. You know, they were pneumatic with tubes. I was like, well, let's throw that out. Yeah, that's better. Little grumblies in there, but we just did our due diligence. There we go. So yeah, I put these tires on because they had no flats, and I just had to modify the ends a little bit. You know, again, modification. No flat. What's better than no flats? Nothing, because they don't go flat. I'm not starting it now. I'll take it outside tomorrow. Probably use it tomorrow. If not, the next day we'll run it there, and I'll shove that in somewhere. But not bad, you know. Oh, why are you starting it? I'm not starting it now. Okay, I'm not doing that now. I'm tired. I'm cranky now. I want to go chill out. But yeah, I might just put a little quickie. I just want to show you, but these are nice, right? Especially when you want to squeeze one in. Sometimes when you want to squeeze one in, fellas, you squeeze one out. This goes without earlier. These might be a little too much, might get in the way of the mechanism or get mashed, but these are nice. They're like a screen. But these can be a little restrictive, but like I said, for this kind, and the valve, you know, obviously turn the valve open all the way, so it's not, you're not restricting anything, but you want to get something in there better. I mean, it might reduce the gallons per minute, the GPM, a tiny bit. Get yourself a nice little kit there of the nice new washers. This is a separate kit of all the different, you know, types that I can use. Some more in there. Just the two types, right? The conical, whatever you want to call that, and the flat screen. So now that it's got another screen, a second one, and we get a nice, you know, quick mount, quick disconnect. Nice. Oh, I should have changed the handle on it. I hate that little handle. Oh, it's windy today. All right. Water off. Release some pressure. Choke on full. Power. Power. Turn the power. Here we go. Here we go. Hey! Water on! But that's it. We're ready for the season. Whatever, you know, we can do to keep these things running and keep them nice. This is one of my custom rigs. I'm very happy. Yeah, I did spray some stuff in there. I should blow it out though with the air hose, just to make sure nothing is in there. But I sprayed some goodies in there. It's all done. We're all ready to go. It's ready for yet another season. And I couldn't be happy with this setup. I really like it. I almost like it better. In a lot of ways, I like it better for a few reasons that I mentioned than the Rigid with the Subaru and the Cat. Although that's a nice system, and I got to fix that too. So maybe we'll do that in the next couple of weeks or something, because we got to go over that one as well. And that cat pump is now leaking. So it started leaking because they're getting old. It's time to service them. Thanks for stopping in, hanging out in the garage with me, having a fun time. Hopefully, as I enjoyed it. I like doing this stuff. It's late. It's been dark now for hours. That dinner was good. Shout out to Liz. That was some nice sauce she made. Okay, where's my fucking assistant? Jesus. What? You never know when you might use something.
Sorry.
Put on a little ravioli, a little bit of ragout. It's nice. A little pork in there. She wasn't even sure what was in that. It was good. I enjoyed it. Thanks, Liz. She's not paying attention. She doesn't care. But it was good. I'll see you guys later.